Good evening and welcome to the HCC Experience. It's a great opportunity for us to communicate with the community and perhaps introduce to the community some of the personalities we have on campus, and also talk about some of the progress and changes that are taking place at Hutchinson Community College. Tonight's guest is Carter File. Carter File is our Vice President of Finance at Hutchinson Community College, and welcome, Carter. It's great to have you on the program.
Thank you for having me, Dr. Berger.
And as you can tell, this is certainly tournament week at Hutchinson Community College, and certainly a lot of exciting things happening in basketball with both the men's and women's teams. And of course, when you look at the larger scale, the NC2A tournament is getting underway this week as well. So great time to be in Kansas and being a basketball fan. Carter, I thought we might talk a little bit about some of the changes that we've had on campus and some of the construction projects that are currently in progress. Now, you might tell our viewers a little bit about the Quest Center and the Quest Center project, what the timeline is on the Quest Center project, and what that facility will provide for the college.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Berger. The Quest Center is on, as many of the viewers probably know, is on Main Street at 9th and Main. It's still the Quest Center, but it was formerly a small business incubator. And the college purchased that approximately 18 months ago to expand and enhance the allied health programs that Hutchinson Community College offers. The project has been bid, and construction has actually started in late November, early December of 2012. It will be a complete renovation of the first floor of that building. The construction company, who is A&A Builders here in Hutchinson, will go in and have gone in actually and completely demolish the interior of the building, and are going to go back in and start to build classrooms, lab space, simulation labs, as well as the computer labs for our students to use. In that building, there'll be approximately 4 general purpose classrooms, which are kind of the classic classroom that people think of: tables, chairs, LCD projector for the faculty member to do presentations with. But also in that building, because of the nature of allied health and because it's a very hands-on technical type programs, there will also be a surgical technical suite. There will be a physical therapy assistant suite, and there will be a respiratory therapy assistant suite. And those suites actually have labs internal to the classrooms where the students can actually take their hands-on experience in instruction right there. This will allow us to continue the growth of the allied health programs and continue Hutchinson Community College's Center of Excellence in Allied Health.
You know, when we look at that facility, how many square feet will be available to our allied health programs with that first floor addition?
It'll be approximately 25,000 square feet.
About 25,000, so really you're talking significant square footage.
Mm-hmm.
You know, when you look at similar square footage, the Shears Technology Center was also about 25,000. So it's building essentially adding that much more capacity to the institution.
Yes, it is, and it's going to be once it's completed, it's going to be very usable, very attractive space. The exterior of the building, not only the interior is getting a complete overhaul or facelift, the exterior as well is getting a complete facelift. The outside of the building will continue the theme of the campus, in that it'll have metal panels, and there will be new energy efficient windows put in. And you asked about the timeline earlier. The timeline was essentially scheduled to be done mid to late fall semester of 2013. But because the contractor is making such great progress on it, we believe that it'll probably be completed substantially early, maybe as early as midsummer of 2013, and we'll be able to occupy it for the fall semester.
I know that timing is really interesting for us as well, because with the advent of that facility being available, and we can get the move taking place during the summer when it's a little bit less hectic, and have it all ready to go by August, that would be a wonderful thing for us to be able to accomplish.
It would be, and it will help the programs, because they'll be able to move over the summer, they'll be able to get into new space, and they'll be able to start to utilize the building.
You know, one of the things that you look at with a facility of that nature certainly is location, and having a presence on Main Street is important. And I know we're looking at some signage for that facility on Main Street. Kind of talk a little bit about what it means to have a presence on Main Street. We get that traffic pattern, perhaps have a video board or something of that nature up on that facility.
I think it'll just give additional exposure to the college. It will, it will remind the local citizens that the community, that this is their community college and that we're Hutchinson Community College. We're here to help out with their needs, be they adult training, whether they're business and industry training, whether they're traditional student training. It gives us a presence that will, again, help remind people that we are their college and we're here to serve them. It'll also help improve the general overall look of that area. There was a project done just south of there that was an old building was converted into some very nice apartments, and this will continue that kind of that revitalization or that reinvention, if you will, of that block.
You know, some people have asked about parking. I know parking is always an issue for a college campus. Do you see parking as being much of a problem there on that location?
No, the parking there is not immediately apparent, but if you look within one block area of that building, there part of the purchase of the building was a parking lot to the north of that building that will accommodate approximately 20 to 22 cars. There is a parking lot that is directly adjacent to that building that will probably accommodate 15 cars. Then there is parking to the south of that building on 8th Street, I believe. There's probably 15 to 20 spots there, and then the college has its own parking lot south and east of Davis Hall, which is just directly adjacent to the Quest Center. So
it's really going to be a hub of activity, though.
Absolutely.
You're going to have, certainly parking is around, and I think if you can, anytime on a college campus, if you can be within a block of your classroom, why, it's an advantage. And certainly you're looking at, I think that parking on 8th Street, that on-street parking is something that is not very frequently used and certainly will be when this is finished.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely, and you're right. It will make that a nice center, a nice hub with the addition of the Quest Center and currently part of Hutchinson Community College's allied health programs are housed in Davis Hall. It makes for, which is just directly adjacent to the Quest Center. It makes for a very nice center and an area that students will be able to identify with.
You know, one of the things with Davis Hall, and I don't know if everybody's familiar with Davis Hall or not, but that's immediately, it's 9th and Walnut. When you look at Davis Hall, that facility has served us well, and certainly we have nursing programs in there. We have our college radio station, our Radio Kansas located there, as well as retired senior volunteer program. Those programs really generate a lot of traffic in this part of Hutchinson.
They do. We have a very large ADN program, which is an associate degree nursing program. I believe there's 40 to 60 students in that program. We have currently have surgical technology in that building. That Surg Tech program will move to the new Quest Center. We have our radiology program, which is a program that trains X-ray and sonogram technicians, and a number of students, probably over greater than 100 students in total in all of those programs in that area.
You know, looking at the second floor of the Quest Center, I know we don't have immediate plans for remodeling that, but there's nice space on the second floor of that building that we plan to use for nurses' meetings and that type of thing. Is there a long-term a plan for something besides that, Carter?
Yes, the second floor of the Quest Center will allow the programs that are in there to expand and enhance their services and their offerings. One of the visions for that second floor is to have basically a mock hospital room where all of the allied health programs can work together on patient simulation, because one of the areas for improvement in allied health is that you have radiology technicians training as radiology technicians, you have respiratory therapy technicians training as respiratory therapists, nurses training as nurses, but they don't, as a general rule, get to work together until they're on the job, so to speak. So one of the visions is to create, again, a kind of a virtual hospital or a virtual hospital room up there where they can work together and program together.
Yeah, I think it's kind of interesting when you look at that facility, certainly, and see the possibilities. I think we've had a lot of people in the community who have shared our vision and been very generous as far as contributions. I know the Board of Trustees has named that facility the Bob and Lou Peel Allied Health Training Center, and certainly very excited about that. And we've had a very generous donation from the Hutchinson Hospital Foundation, and that also is a great gift. And we've had really significant gifts from a number of people who have, again, shared the vision, the need for that, and certainly we're very thankful for those contributions.
Absolutely. This project has been wonderfully supported by numerous individuals in the community, and as you know, that's one of the things that makes community colleges go, and that's one of the things that is an absolute strength of Hutchinson Community College is the community support and the generous donations of our givers. We were able to offer some of the donors tax credits for their donations because the state of Kansas made those tax credits available to us, and so it made an attractive option for those donors to contribute money to this project, help the college, and at the same time take advantage of Kansas tax law.
When you look at that facility, that's a great addition. And then when you look on campus, last summer we had a campus project on lighting and enhancing the lighting on the west and north side of campus. Do we have anything on the books for this summer as far as those kinds of internal campus projects?
This summer we're going to focus on some of our parking lots, not real exciting enhancements, but certainly necessary to keep the infrastructure well maintained and upgrade the infrastructure. We're going to look at doing some of our parking lots are starting to show age, and we need to go in and cut out asphalt and resurface some areas. We won't be replacing any parking lots completely, but we might be resurfacing major portions of them, and we'll be addressing some of the areas that are crumbling in the asphalt. So that's really the major project that we're going to have on the books this summer as far as maintenance projects.
You know, it doesn't take much, the freezing and thawing of that blacktop, and I know we've had, really the last 2 winters have been pretty mild. We haven't had much of that, but certainly if we had a winter where we had a lot of moisture and we had a lot of freezing and thawing, well, you start to see those cracks expanding and seeing all sorts of problems in that parking lot. So it's good that we're taking a look at that and perhaps trying to head off something that could be perhaps a little bit troubling as we move forward.
Yeah, and the thawing, the freezing and thawing is hard on them. Also with asphalt, high heat is very difficult on them because the asphalt gets soft.
It's a little soft, yeah.
Gets very soft, and traffic patterns will kind of embed themselves in it. So it's weather takes its toll on all facilities, but in particular, black asphalt parking lots are particularly susceptible to the weather.
You know, when you look at campus on a whole, your grounds crew does a wonderful job with landscaping and also planting flowers. And I know they, just looking around campus, we're starting to see some tulips pop up and other kinds of spring plantings starting to arrive. So that also really augments the campus dramatically when you see those kinds of additions to the campus.
It does. It's that type of effort by our grounds crew and by the college to provide for very nice landscaping, for nice flower beds. It goes beyond what's necessary to enhance the experience of the community and to enhance the experience of our students. Last summer was the first summer that the KSU Master Gardeners, the Kansas State University Master Gardener program, put in a demonstration garden on our campus, and it was maintained completely by people who are taking the Master's Gardener program. And for the audience, the Master's Gardener program is, the demonstration garden is behind Lockman Hall, kind of between the pond, the tennis court, and Lockman Hall, for people who are familiar with the campus. Anybody who's walking from main campus to the Gowan Stadium has probably seen it. And it was just a wonderful improvement, and we certainly hope they continue that into the future.
Yeah, it is. All those plants are identified, and so it's it's kind of an educational program as well for our students as well as community to come and see what grows in that kind of location. There's a little bit of shade, there's a little bit of sun, and certainly it's not going to be a very high watered area, but so you're going to have to take a look at some of those stresses that happen to plants, and that's good too.
Mm-hmm. It is. It's again, it was a wonderful addition, and we were happy to have them on campus to do that, and hope they continue it.
Very good. This time I think we'll take a short break and be back with the HCC Experience and Carter File after hearing more about programs at Hutchinson Community College. Good evening and welcome back to the HCC Experience. Our guest this afternoon or this evening is Carter File. Carter is our Vice President of Finance. We've talked a little bit about the Quest Center project, which we hope to have finished by mid to late summer and have dedication of it about in that same time frame. I thought we might talk a little bit about some of the things that are happening on the budget side for Hutchinson Community College, and certainly I think most of our viewers know that we did raise tuition just about a month ago in February, and certainly with that tuition raise, looking at $4 increasing in tuition, $1 in fee, that will generate about $400,000 for Hutchinson Community College. Certainly when you look at our budget, we have three prime funding sources. We have student tuition, makes up about 27% of our total. We have state money, about 22%, and our local taxpayers about 42%. So you kind of see how the breakout of our funding is, and certainly that's something that we monitor all the time, and we have seen a decline in state support in the last, I suppose the last 10 years or so. We've gone from about 36% down to about 22%. So monitoring that pretty closely. Carter, how do you see the funding picture shaping up for Hutchinson Community College, and certainly being cognizant of everything that's happening at the state level?
Dr. Berger, you're absolutely right. The state level, the state legislature right now is, they're grappling with a budget where the revenue that they're expected to bring in and the expenditures they expect to have are just not adding up. Let me back up a few years. You mentioned that state funding has decreased over the last 10 years, and that's absolutely correct. As many people probably know, the biggest decline started in 2008, 2009, 2010 when the fiscal or the financial crisis kind of hit and the Great Recession was kind of in full swing. Last year, the Kansas State Legislature was pretty generous to community colleges. We actually got an increase in our state funding, which was very much needed because we'd had 5 years of either flat or decreasing funding. So they kind of brought us back to about 90% of where we were at in 2008. The current year is shaping up to be, we hope, our best hope right now is that we can maintain the funding that we had last year. The reality of that is, based upon everything I'm hearing coming out of Topeka, that probably the best we can hope for is a 2 to 4% decrease in our funding, which to Hutchinson Community College, essentially for every 1% we lose $100,000. So if we lose 4%, which seems to be the most likely number, we will lose $400,000. You mentioned the tuition hike earlier, the tuition and fee hike earlier. Those two, if that's what actually comes to pass, those two will essentially offset one another. So we are at basically a zero increase in revenue, which makes it difficult in a world where costs increase every year.
You know, when we look at those changes, and certainly the state is making some adjustments as far as the income tax and sliding the income tax down, and perhaps wanting to keep a sales tax in place. Long term for us at Hutchinson Community College, I think we are looking at growth in technical, and there's a new technical funding formula in place at the community tech college level. That funding formula which funds at cost of programs, certainly we would hope that would be increased over the years. We're supposed to have $8 million more this year as well as last year. Any predictions on where this might be going? I know the governor's very excited about the services that community colleges provide with technical education, knowing full well that technical education is key to economic growth. So is that something that we can hope for after maybe a correction is made in the funding distribution?
We can always hope for it. I just don't see any increased funding coming from the state of Kansas. You mentioned the new funding model, and the funding model essentially demonstrates what it should cost to put a program on, and we're at about 50% funding right now, slightly under that as a community college system, and Hutchinson Community College is at about 46% for our technical programs. Certainly we would like to see that. You're right, Governor Brownback is an extremely strong supporter of technical education, sees it as one of the economic drivers of the state. He fundamentally believes, not to put words in his mouth, but I think he fundamentally believes that businesses can't grow without educated workforce, and we are the educated workforce. We are the educators of the workforce he's looking at. We can always hope. We will certainly continue to take our message to Topeka and to Governor Brownback. One of the things that they did do last year was they put in place a program called Senate Bill 155. And what Senate Bill 155 does is it pays the tuition for a high school student, pays the cost of attendance for a high school student who is taking a technical, what is a career and technical education course. We also refer to them as tiered courses. So a junior in high school who is taking a course in auto body, for instance, their tuition will be paid for by the state of Kansas, and the student will then get that credit from Hutchinson Community College that they can then take and go to work with it, or they can take it and go to Hutchinson Community College and get complete their associate degree or their certificate, or if they so choose, no one would know why, they could go to another community college with it. So it becomes a portable credit hour for that student at no cost to that student for technical programs. So, and that was additional funding. That money appears to be in the budget for the current year and in the budget for next year.
You know, that's something that's a great boon for our high school students who are taking classes. Certainly to have that, not only have the credit in place, but make that transferable. And those unified school districts are getting a incentive also, $1,000 for every certificate they produce, and certainly that's great for them as well. So you have some incentives built into it, and you have, it's one of those rare programs where every entity is a winner. Certainly the student is going to be a winner because he or she is going to have a portable credential coming out of that environment. The Unified School District a winner because they're getting to have those programs underwritten and really supported. And the community college also, because we're going to be bringing more students, hopefully, into our institutions because of this.
Mm-hmm. Well, and big picture, state of Kansas benefits from a high level because we now have students that are coming out of high school with skill sets and credentials that they can actually go right into the workforce if they choose. Again, one of Governor Brownback's visions is that students could potentially take those certificates or those technical degrees, work while they work on advancing their college education, so they don't have to saddle themselves with too much debt. And so again, big picture winner is the state of Kansas in a lot of cases.
Yeah, I think that there's a statistic that I've heard repeated back in the 1950s. About 60% of the workforce was unskilled. And today they're looking at 68% of the workforce being skilled. And having a skilled workforce essentially means that they have an education or training beyond high school. And that's going to become more and more essential for us, meaning the state of Kansas, for this nation to be productive in the global economy. We're going to have that skilled workforce.
Yep. I've read similar statistics that say over the next decade, 2 out of every 3 jobs created are going to require more than a high school education, but less than a baccalaureate degree. So again, 2 out of every 3 jobs that are being created are a job that the community colleges, particularly Hutchinson Community College, fills a niche to train that workforce that's going to need that advanced training and skill level.
You know, we're seeing some interesting things too as far as our enrollment. About 46% of our student enrollment is now technical, and that is a change over the years. And we're also seeing some students who have gone off to those 4-year institutions getting a baccalaureate degree, and those students come back with that baccalaureate degree and enroll at Hutchinson Community College to get technical training so they can get a job.
Yeah. I've heard and read that there are more students with baccalaureate degrees that are coming back to community and technical colleges to get trained to go to work than there are going on to grad school, which again points out the fact that people need additional training to go to work. There's, baccalaureate degrees, I'm a baccalaureate degree holder myself, are wonderful things. But from a work perspective, going to work, there is nothing that can get you into the workforce and increase your earnings potentials greater than a technical degree or an associate's degree.
Well, Carter Fowler, it's been wonderful having you as a guest on the HCC Experience, talking about some of the exciting things that are happening at Hutchinson Community College as far as physical plant and budget. Certainly we would invite our viewers to visit Hutchinson Community College at any time and take a tour of campus and see some of the exciting things happening at this institution. If you'd like to call and make an appointment for a visit, just call 665-3500 and you can have a student visit or you can have a visit with anybody that you'd like to on campus. So great to have the community involved and a part of and so supportive of our institution. Thank you for joining us for another edition of the HCC Experience. I'm Ed Berger, President of Hutchinson Community College.